Halocarbons are mostly man-made gases consisting of both carbon and at least one of the halogens. The majority of them fall into the category of chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs. These gases are most well known for their ability to destroy stratospheric ozone, but they are also very strong greenhouse gases.
Halocarbons are molecules that consist at least of one carbon and one halogen. It may also contain not carbon but also halogen or any other element. It is important to note that there are many kinds of halocarbons. The most famous ones are chlorofluorocarbons that contain mainly chlorine, fluorine, and carbon.
The main anthropogenic source of halocarbons in the atmosphere are chlorofluorocarbons, also known as CFCs. CFCs are entirely anthropogenically produced by aerosol propellants, refrigerator coolants, and air conditioners. Other anthropogenic sources of halocarbons in the atmosphere are hydrochlorofluorocarbons and hydrofluorocarbons. These are currently being used as substitutes to replace CFCs to protect the ozone layer.
A few examples of natural halocarbons are created by wood fire and volcanic activities. A second large source are marine algae, which produce several methane compounds. There are several thousand complex halocarbons known, produced mainly by marine species.
The graph on the right shows the global warming potential and atmospheric lifetimes of halocarbons and other halogenated compounds. We can see in the graph that sulfur hexafluoride is the compound with most global warming potential with 23,900. Tetrafluoromethane is the compound with most atmospheric lifetime with 50,000 years. And hexafluoroethane is one of the highest in both global warming potential and atmospheric lifetime with a global warming potential of 9,200 and an atmospheric lifetime of 10,000 years.
The graph on the left, showing the years between 1977 and the year 2000, illustrates the halocarbons over time atmospheric concentration. By analyzing the slope, we can realize that between 1990 and the year 2000, the concentration has started to level out. This is due to the awareness of the effects that halocarbon causes on the ozone layer, and the fact that it has been forbidden in many legislations all over the world.
Halocarbons cause effects on the ozone layer because many halogens are very reactive, mainly fluorine and chlorine. These elements react in the presence of ultraviolet light to create the reaction known as ozone depletion. This means that they take an oxygen from the ozone molecule and they turn it into chlorine monoxide or fluorine monoxide and normal oxygen that then falls to the lower layers of the atmosphere, effectively destroying the ozone layer, mainly in Antarctica where the temperature is colder and there is more probability of this reaction to happen.
This is related to halocarbons' reactive forcing that has to do with the destruction of stratospheric ozone. As mentioned before, this allows ultraviolet light into the troposphere and has an important part in climate change.
Halocarbons were created by Thomas Mickley in the 20th century. He also created lead tetraethyl. Both substances were very harmful to the ozone layer and to the atmosphere in general. On the other hand, Mario Molina, a Mexican chemist, was the one who discovered the effects of chlorofluorocarbons and other halocarbons on the ozone layer in the 1980s. This led to the creation of the Montreal Protocol to decrease the use of these kinds of substances on the atmosphere.
To conclude, we're going to talk about possible solutions on how halocarbons can be removed from the atmosphere. This can be done through natural sinks, which have the capacity to take in the greenhouse gases and clean the air around us. Soil sinks have been studied sufficiently enough to state that 40% of all atmospheric carbon tetrachloride can be removed through these methods. These are halocarbons, another kind of greenhouse gases that affect our present and our future.